Welcome to the northeast of England and to Newcastle for the world's greatest half marathon, the Bupa Great North Run. Now, this year the famous race will see the 1 millionth person cross the finish line, the first event in the world to reach this significant landmark. Well, the races today feature real talent, including Olympic champion Mo Farah, who is up against a class field, and a women's race which features the second fastest woman in history in Keitany of Kenya. Well, joining me in the commentary box is Tim Hutchings. And the wheelchairs the first to get away. And the field led by Simon Lawson on the left.
And this will be very warm. We're expecting the temperature now about 12 degrees to rise to around 17, 18. So in the latter stages of even this race, and they of course go much faster than the able-bodied athletes, even in the latter stages of this one, the temperature will climb.
There you've got a good look at it now through the central motorway, and it goes past the Gateshead Stadium, and there it is, and heads down towards the Hewitt roundabout, and then turns a little left up to South Tyneside, the lowest point at 8 kilometres incidentally, and the highest at 5, and then we go out and it turns left with just about 1.1 miles, just probably a little bit more than that, down to South Shields and the finish. Keitany, the Kenyan world half marathon champion, former half marathon world record holder, she goes in this race. She'll be there right to the end, I would think, but then just getting introduced is Edna Kiplagat. Now, Edna Kiplagat is a bit special. 2011 and 2013 world marathon champion, won the London Marathon this year, did Edna Kiplagat. Very, very strong competitor. And it's good to see Gemma Steele of Great Britain looking so confident here. World Half Marathon Championship 7th placer in 2012. Got the cross-country, European cross-country silver last year. She's really quite a competitive young woman now. That all started some years ago in the Great South Run when she had a very good performance and hasn't looked back since then. Had 1 or 2 injuries, I must say. But this young woman is the Olympic champion over the marathon distance. Tiki Gelana, she won the marathon. I mean, fell down early in the race, but still prevailed. And I guess you've got to say that is a lot of character building to do that.
The ladies here, well, they look to have set off at a far more conservative tempo, I suppose you could say. I'm interested to see here in particular today, though, how Keitany goes. She's a second to right there, as you see that picture. Tiny, tiny figure, Keitany. I saw her break the world record for a half marathon in the United Arab Emirates 3 years ago. That record's since improved slightly, but Keitany, we understand, back to something like her very best after being away from the sport for a year or two for childbirth. And Keitany, if she is anything like in her best form, then she will certainly be at the favourite.
There's a gap opening up. Kiplagat on the right, of course, Keitany in the middle, as we said, and Wanjiri in the yellow vest on the near side. There's Gemma Steele and little Perdue there. She's a tiny figure. If we say that Keitany's tall, then so is Perdue. She's absolutely tiny.
.183 is Madeira in the second place there with the blue chair, but look at the slipstreaming going on there. They are pulverizing these first few miles. 9.5 minutes on the clock, and well, I don't know, I just think there's sections of this carriageway through the outskirts of Newcastle where they're actually speeding.
That is a wonderful sight, absolutely wonderful. And the crowds actually are huge across the whole of this 13.1 mile course. Actually, having said that, it's a little bit sparse in, I should think, 2/3 of the way once you start heading out towards the coast. But really, I think that's Susan Partridge along with Charlotte Perdue. And look how they're breaking up now, Tim. I mean, this is very early, but I'm not sure. I didn't expect this, really. I mean, Gemma Steele's gone up there with the leading group, and she's there, but she's the leading British competitor, obviously, here.
Yes, I would expect Gemma to live with this pace for a little while, but I'm intrigued to see Keitany in the blue up at the front there. Top left of picture is the tiny figure Keitany. I'm intrigued to see her pushing the pace here so early on.
But now the men, and this promises to be a very, very fine race indeed.
And there's Thomas Ayeko. Now, I have this Ugandan down as a man due for a big improvement today. He ran in the World Championship final at 10,000 last year in Moscow. Was behind Mo Farah there, of course, but his best of 62.5 minutes is due for a huge improvement, as is the best of this man, Andy Vernon. You must recognise him. Took the silver medal in the European Championships, 10,000 behind Mo Farah, and then the bronze in the 5,000. He's had a fabulous year, but he's due a much better personal best than his 64-minute time at the moment. Tariku Bekele, his brother, Kenyan, winning this race last year and defeating Mo Farah. He's worth much faster than his personal best, funnily enough, 62.59. He's a world indoor champion back in 2008 at 3,000. Stephen Kiprotich, the Olympic marathon champion. He and Tiki Gelana running that women's race, the women's champion. A fabulous signing for this race on this 33rd edition. His best 61.15 from last year. He's also world marathon champion from Moscow last season. And there is Mo Farah, second here last year in 60 minutes 10 seconds. Of course, now has that brace of Olympic titles, European titles.
Started by Seb Coe, and of course Seb, Lord Coe now, wonderful job at the London Olympic Games, and has received immense accolade for that, and so he should. But these races, this race will certainly develop very, very quickly on the left side of the elite men, and you will see them move away from the masses. But as you were saying earlier, Tim, one fellow dropped out before he'd actually got to the start one year because it is so far from the back end of this to the actual crossing of the line. And that's why so many, I know they've got the little transponders on, but a lot of people, most people, will click their own personal stopwatches. And as I said, that there they were just clicking on as they went through. And of course, here are the rest, way, way down the back, and they will know that the elite will be finished before some of them get underway. It really is a bit like that, and the masses help you to get along.
There's that Gateshead Stadium made famous way, way back. Was it 1975 when it opened? Before there was a stand there, it was basically just a track in a sea of mud. Brendan Foster set a world record for 3,000 metres, and that established Gateshead straight away as one of the great centres of track and field athletics in the UK, and it remains very much the case. There's that leading six passing Gateshead Stadium. This is one of the slightly flatter sections of the course, although, as I said, my distinct memories of this half marathon route are that almost every metre is on a gradient, either slightly down or slightly up. Gemma Steele, along with Kiplagat, just having to ease back a little bit there to left of picture. Now that's interesting because Wanjiku and Keitany, along with Tiki Gelana, the Olympic marathon champion, in the pink there between them, are running very, very aggressively, and it's breaking down world-class athletes so quickly.
Well, Simon Lawson and Jordi Madeira battling it out, with Lawson now in second place. Madeira's taken over the fourth placer in the Paris Marathon, sixth in the London. 43.56 his time, his best time. And incidentally, Simon Lawson, well, if he continues like this, could get a PB out of this, a personal best. His best is 45.16. And incidentally, that was a time he set this season. Just listen to the crowd, the reaction and the support that the crowd are giving to these athletes.
Well, and those numbers will build, of course, as the morning wears on at the Tyne Bridge. The masses come through over the next hour, and along the rest of the course, more and more people coming out. It's 10 to 11 local time in the UK. Mo Farah looking very strong there alongside Keegan at the front. Keegan to the right in the yellow vest. I wonder if he's going to cause a bit of an upset here, Keegan. I mean, he is the quickest in the race. Well, there's Keitany and Gelana It's interesting that Gelana is just tucked in there behind Keitany. And what Keitany will be saying to herself, even at this stage, is that if Gelana is that comfortable, she'd move up alongside me or even go ahead of me and push on the pace. So I think what Keitany has to say to herself here is that I'm hurting Tiki Gelana. I've already blown away the rest of the field. Interesting to see Gemma Steele there, centre of picture, has moved through into third place. If she can just keep those two within reasonable distance, then one of them may come back at least.
Madeira putting pressure on the motorbike, that leading camera, isn't he? Now, has he done enough? He's been coasting for drafting for so long, and he's now got the advantage, and Lawson has paid the penalty for doing all that work and allowing the Spaniard to sit in behind him. And look at that, it's a big sprint. Oh gosh, he nearly got that steward, didn't he, on the way through towards the finish, but all the work is done. Madeira is going to come in here with a good win on this day in 2014, this Bupa great run, the wheelchair part of it, and Simon Lawson has done all the work, and in the end the man who was drafting a long way in the final stages breaks away and is coming through to take the title, and so he does. Jordi Madeira takes it from Simon Lawson, so Spain over Lawson. She looks as though she's moving away a little bit here, doesn't she, and getting away from Tiki Gelana. This is an absolutely superb. Remember in that New York Marathon in 2011, she ran the first half in 67.56. Okay, she faltered a bit in the second, suffered a bit at 75.42, and eventually was overtaken by two other competitors. But here, this is unbelievable. And this is going to be very quick indeed. Look at this, absolutely superb, all trying to get into the shot. And I just wonder how the men are getting on at the front of this race, though. Well, Keegan's leading in the men, and certainly Farah there in the centre of those three. And certainly Keegan looking at this, at Ayeko, who we saw, and Kiprotich, and also Bekele. Those are the leading five, and it looks as though that's where the winner's going to come from. Mo Farah looked very comfortable. I'm not sure he's got the gait for marathon running, quite simply, but the half marathon is very much within his remit. There's no question about that. That's Kilel here, just behind Gemma Steele. And Tim, that really is just almost 31 minutes there, so we've got a good pace. I think we can probably judge the pace on that, can we?
Yeah, 6 miles in, 30:57 there, and that would suggest that, well, they're still on tempo for something like 66 minutes, about 6 minutes exactly in this women's field. 10 kilometres from Keitany in, what, about 31:15, and that is a more useful indicator of the tempo she's moving at. Keitany, well, I reckon she's accelerated now, Stuart, down to around 65:45 pace. I mean, this she could well threaten the course record.
And there are the red arrows, traditional appearance of the red arrows, that wonderful group of pilots, all RAF men, and they're fantastic pilots.
There's Shelley Woods coming home in this women's wheelchair race, looking strong, and Woods, well, 5 Great North Runs victories to date, and that makes it number 6 for Shelley Woods. They're going a lot quicker than 12 months ago. And Mo, with that long loping stride of his, he looks so relaxed. It takes a lot of strength to run with that sort of bounce that Mo has, as opposed to more fluid style that you can see there from Keegan to the right. But he is running well, Keegan. I love the fact that he's taken the race to the opposition. He's running without any fear whatsoever, and he's asking questions of Mo Farah now as they approach halfway. Mo probably wasn't expecting this. There it is, 10 kilometres in, what, about 28:18, something like that. Well, that's a very clear indication of the status that Gemma Steele has acquired now, Stuart. She's beginning to push hard to try and break the Olympic marathon champion. And I don't think anybody has ever said that about her before in her career to date. There is Keitany who we know now is heading for something probably below 66 minutes. 9 miles in what, 45:06, something like that.
Look at the scene now over the Tower Bridge. A couple of miles gone, that's all. And really a long journey to go, but very satisfying. Some will be running at 10-minute mile pace and some at 12-minute mile pace. Some having a little walk here and there.
But back to this elite men's race, and Keegan stretching now, and Mo Farah slipped into his slipstream. Is not on the shoulder of Keegan, who's looking quite supreme, I have to say. Lovely long stride from Keegan. Mo there, well, he just bounces a little bit more. He does look more relaxed, doesn't he? There's a certain urgency to the stride of Keegan. Look at those mile splits, 4:30, 4:27, and 4:27 again. I mean, it is astonishingly quick.
Still pounding out the kilometres, 55:54, so she's roughly just over 10 minutes, around about 10 minutes, I would think, from the end of this race. And, well, race, it's been a bit of a demonstration in a sense, but that is about just sheer excellence. But there's Gemma. Gemma Steele has got away from the Olympic champion. And you have to say that's a very, very good run indeed by Gemma. She's being led by, well, an incredibly talented African athlete in the form of Keitany, but nevertheless, she's stuck to this task. Look at this. Well, Keegan, has he stolen the march on Mo Farah? What do you reckon, Tim? I mean, this could be a significant break. He's certainly going for it.
Well, he's asking questions of Mo Farah, isn't he? We know that. He's been applying the pressure, turning the screw mile after mile, trying to make Farah put pressure on Farah. Look at those mile splits, 4:28 for the 8th mile. That's the one of the quickest yet. And Farah, what, 3 or 4 meters down. I don't think was expecting this. I really don't.
Watch that clock as she goes down towards the finish now. 65:40 to beat, and 65:12 is the time that represents the fastest. 200 meters to go. Jeptu 65:45 last year, and this is a similar run, but it looks as though it could be a little quicker. Watch this, 65:12. Well, the world best has gone, but this is looking to go inside 65:40. That's the time. Approaching the finish now. Will this be a new course record? It's going to be very, very close. Just coming up to 10 seconds now. And it could be very, very close. She's got to turn 7 seconds. 6. Here she comes. 36, 37, 38. And I think she's just done it. I think she has. Well, it's got at 65:40, which equals the course record. If that is the official time, she's equaled it. A wonderful demonstration of half marathon running. Well, look at this. Mo Farah right up on the back now of Keegan. This is not over yet. Another 4:37, a 4:37 mile, the 10th mile. And so Keegan really churning it out. But of the two, of course, we know that Mo has got the sprint finish, and he's got a mighty sprint finish on him as well. And whether Keegan can actually get away from him far enough to eliminate the possibility of being caught. It's looking unlikely at the moment as Farah just latches in behind Mike Keegan.
But now Gemma Steele is producing a performance which frankly puts her right up there, just behind Paula Radcliffe and ahead of virtually any other British athlete over the half marathon distance in history. This will be superb. I think this will make her the second quickest half marathon runner behind Paula Radcliffe in recent years. Of course, Liz McColgan was great, but this is a supreme performance from Gemma Steele.
Just outside 68 minutes, but it is going to be a personal best. It's going to be a big, big personal best. Look at that. She'll look at the clock and say, yes, second place, but 2:33 behind. So that's a wonderful personal best for Gemma Steele. Absolutely superb. And here comes Keitany, the Olympic champion, into 3rd place. Wonderful, wonderful run by Tiki once again. Always there or thereabouts, but my goodness me, she must have wondered what happened when Gemma Steele, running alongside, had the confidence to run away from her. That was absolutely magnificent. Now this is where the battle emerged last year, of course, and we'll see now what each of these men have got, with just about 1.3 miles to go from the start of this slight downhill and then onto the straightaway. It's a tough, long straight, it really is. You can see the finish in the distance, and it's very, very tough indeed. There they go down onto the coast road, nothing in it, and I have a feeling that Mo Farah might well have the sprint finish that we saw, that he couldn't quite match Bekele last year. I wonder if he's got it this year. The early stages of their journey over this 13.1 mile distance, 21 kilometers, and a long way to go for them.
I've no doubt at all that Mo is now just gathering himself mentally, screwing up himself inside his head, getting ready for that attack. He can leave it any time he likes. He's got the luxury with that fabulous speed of leaving it to the last 100 yards, the last 400. Keegan too, you've got to pity him. He must know it's coming. He's powerless to respond in speed terms to what Mo Farah can throw at him.
Well, this is interesting. The first time that Mo has really put the pedal down onto Keegan, and what's Mike Keegan got now? Can he come back? Because this is so different to last year when Mo had to catch, or tried to catch, Bekele. But Mike Keegan, who's led pretty well right the way through, I think may well find the finish a little bit too much for him, or will it? Has he got anything left? And he's rocking and rolling a little bit now. And Farah, we know about his basic speed, don't we? So Mo Farah leads, Mike Keegan in second, coming towards the end of this magnificent race.
.400 metres to run, one lap of the track, and Farah still loping. It positions reversed now. Keegan tucked right into the slipstream of Mo Farah. Can the unthinkable happen? Can Keegan break out from behind the Olympic champion at 10,000 metres and kick away? It seems unlikely. Farah can time this at his will. He just needs to respond to anything that comes at him from Keegan. But I fully expect Farah now over this final couple of 100 yards just to wind it up and surge to victory. It's not going to be a big victory, whatever it is, because Keegan has been supreme. There, 200 metres to run. Farah kicks in hard. All of a sudden, the stride lengthens, starts pumping harder with the arms. Keegan trying desperately there to go with him, but that's a marathon runner in second place. You've got the Olympic champion at 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres in the lead. Let's not forget Farah is the European record holder at 1,500 metres, faster than Seb Coe and Steve Cram and Steve Ovett, and he's using all that strength and speed now. He's racing now to stay ahead of Keegan, who's coming back at him. Farah mustn't misjudge this one. Keegan coming back at him so close, about 1.5 meters down. 60.01 Mo Farah. He said he doesn't care at all about the winning time. He wanted the win, and he's got it. And that, I suppose, underlined by the fact that he could have surged. He'd have seen that clock, Stuart, from some way out. He could have gone under the hour, but that will come another day. Mo Farah wins on this occasion. Well, Stephen Kiprotich, the Olympic marathon champion, I think we'll be pretty pleased with this one. This is a man who has his eyes set on the full marathon distance, not the half marathon, and the great marathon runners in history quite often just produce solid half marathons, not winning performances. He finishes in third place in 61.35 unofficially. Bekele 61.40 in fourth place. That's a good solid run from Tariku Bekele. Indeed, a personal best from him by well over a minute.
Very, very good competition between Mo Farah and Mike Keegan, certainly. Look at that, both given exactly the same time, and that's the official time, so it doesn't get too much closer than that, does it?
Once we dropped everybody, I was thinking, all right, Keegan, it's just me and you, but, you know, he wanted to run fast time, so he just put his foot down and just kept pushing and pushing. And there's a couple of times where, you know, I was thinking, oh, how many more miles, 2 more miles, 3 more miles, but I just had to dig in.
So Mary Keitany of Kenya, the winner of the women's race, in a new course record ahead of Gemma Steele and Tiki Gelana of Ethiopia.
It was my first time to come to Great North Run, and I'm happy because at this day I've run and I just beaten the course record of my colleague Paula, of which I was not expecting, but at last I was told that I break it, so I'm happy.
Well, in the wheelchair races, Jordi Madera of Spain beat Simon Lawson of Great Britain. It was a close one, but Shelley Woods, very comfortable winner of the wheelchair race for women. So 2 wonderful races to cap a terrific weekend in the northeast of England, rounded off by the millionth person crossing the finish line of the Great North Run. Well, next up for us is the Great Scottish Run at the start of October, but don't forget to keep up to date on our website, greatrun.org. But from now, from South Shields, it's goodbye.